Give this poor little girl a break. She just wanted to go out and play on the slide. Her mother Mary sprayed half a bottle of disinfectant, put on her down jacket, 3 layers of sunscreen, and finally put on a helmet, ready to go. Anna was just about to slide down. Wait a minute. This slide is full of bacteria, so Mary disinfects the slide again. This is a very protective mom. Anna's father is a rich man who started with nothing, and because he suffered from poverty, he is determined to give Anna the best education possible. Anna is about to start kindergarten. She leads her dad every day to choose a school, locking only the top 3 in Delhi. The first 5-star standard, a purely European cafeteria, and a heated swimming pool. But Mary said no. No full English education. Then the next one, full English communication, open teaching, and people riding around on horses. Mary was still not satisfied. She only had eyes for the top-ranked Delhi grammar school. This is the production line of India's elite. India's biggest industrial giants and politicians graduated from here. But the biggest problem was that it only admitted students from within 3 kilometers. Mary said, let's move. Jack didn't want to. He's lived in the old downtown area for over 30 years. He's used to it. Then Mary got angry and went on a hunger strike. Jack tried to cajole her, but Mary yelled, don't touch me. You can only touch me in the school district. Jack had no choice but to agree. On moving day, Jack said goodbye to his friends and family. Mary was sitting in the car, already thinking about the future. It wasn't easy to fit in with the upper class. They lived in an upscale neighborhood, and the neighborhood kids wouldn't play with Anna because they didn't like the fact that the whole family spoke Hindi. Mary says no, Jack speaks English too. The neighbor laughed and said, he only speaks 1 word, and only half of it is English. The neighbor also said, you are the uneducated rich, we are the future of society. Mary was furious. She had to send Anna to a prestigious school. In the early hours of the next morning, Jack was forced by Mary to pick up the application form, and when he arrived, he was still late. There was a long line in front of the school, and people were sleeping on the floor. The competition was too fierce. They had to go to the school counselor. The counselor said they were too late. Everyone else just got pregnant and came. Jack thought it was an exaggeration. The teacher had to take them to meet some of the upper-class kids. They spoke 4 languages, from the age of dinosaurs to human evolution. They were completely speechless and rushed to give Anna a customized learning plan. 5 lessons a day, 2 hours a lesson. Not only Anna, but they also had to undergo rigorous training. The advisor also hired a designer to help them with their dress code and a writer to help them write their English application. But on the day of the admissions interview, Jack still made many mistakes. He revealed his lack of education. As a result, Anna was not accepted. Jack thought, since the formal channels were not working, he would bribe the principal. He went to the principal with a bag of money. Before he could enter, he saw that the person with the bribe was thrown out by the principal, and he was next in line. Raj Batra. Who is Raj Batra? Jack went away lost, and he went back to the politician. As a result, the politician said I had tried long ago, and the principal simply tore up my recommendation letter. Jack got angry and went to scold the advisor for seeking education. The advisor said, the problem is you. The school thinks you're uneducated rich people. They don't like you, so what do you do? So, the advisor gave them a trick to apply for the poor qualifications. As it turns out, the Indian government mandates that schools give 25% of their places each year to children from poor families. For Anna, Jack decided to do it. Before dawn, they left the mansion quietly with their luggage and went to the slum. As a result, as soon as they got out of the car, Mary stepped in dog shit. The local poor people come in. The new neighbors are super welcoming, offering to carry their bags and bring them candy for Anna. Mary shouted that she couldn't eat it. She dislikes the poor people's food is not clean. This pissed off the poor people. Everyone left. The poor people's life was much harder than they thought. They slept at night and the room was full of mosquitoes. So they took an electric mosquito swatter to beat the mosquitoes. And just as they lay down there were mice. They got up again to beat the mice. The next day, Jack went to the toilet and found that the water was stopped. India does not use paper to go to the toilet. Directly wipe with their hands. So water is very important. Mary had to go to borrow water. But yesterday, she had offended all the neighbors. They all ignored her. At that moment, an honest poor man came forward. His name was Leo, and he said he had water, and he called the others mean. From then on, Mr. and Mrs. Jack and the poor man became friends. The poor man's child happened to apply to Delhi grammar school as well. Soon after, the vice principal of the school came to visit to see if they were really poor. Once the inspector came to the door, he took Jack's hand and said, "Your hands are so tender." He called another person and took his hand. It was black and thick, with calluses all over it. "Look, these are the hands of the poor." The inspector went to the room to check. The floor was 30 yuan a bottle of mineral water. The girl was still eating double pizza. They are pretending to be poor in order to steal the poor students of the prestigious school indicators. Jack is anxious as he sees things falling apart. Leo rushes to the rescue and says they are broke rich people. Jack immediately admits, "Too right." The inspector dispels his suspicions, but says he'll be back in a month. Leo steps up again. He wants to help Jack adapt to poverty. Poverty is an art, he says, and this has to be learned. "My father was poor. My grandfather was poor. My great-grandfather was poor. I've always been poor. I was born into a family of poor people far and wide." Soon, the first lesson of poverty begins. The bus in India can sit 100 people. Leo got on it. Jack stood frozen at the bottom. Leo had to get off the bus. Jack said, "I cannot get on." Leo did not understand. "The bus is very empty. I have stood for you a good seat." Leo introduced Jack to the factory to load cookies, but he was too slow and dropped the cookies. He worked for a day and got a month's pay deducted. To his surprise, Leo gave him half of his salary. He said that a father can't go home with nothing. The couple was very sad. Life is so hard. It's a guilty pleasure to lie to people. But in the slum, Anna gained more happiness instead. She accidentally fell down and Mary tried to help her. The person next to her pulled her back and shook her head. Then the others helped the girl up. The feelings of the poor are so simple and uncomplicated. Soon, the inspector reviewed the case again. Both Jack and Leo's children passed the admissions process. But there was bad news. The school was going to reduce the number of places. Only 10 poor students could be enrolled. Fortunately, Anna was selected, but Leo's son was unlucky not to make the cut. Looking at Leo in tears, Jack was sad and said he was sorry. The poor man said, "Don't say that. You didn't take our place." They were speechless. Everything was fixed and Jack moved back to the rich neighborhood with his family. The guilt made him sad. They decided to donate to the slum school. They completely renovated the school and gave away many books. Before long, Leo was in tears when he saw that his son could read English. He wanted to thank the donor, so he took out the address the principal had given him and visited in person. When the door opened, he saw a familiar face and the truth was revealed. Jack hurriedly explained that he had no choice but to lie for Anna. But Leo couldn't accept it either. He said the politicians had taken our food, the capitalists had taken our land, and you had taken our education. He was so angry that he went to the school and tried to denounce Jack. At that moment, Anna saw him. "Uncle, do you like my new school uniform?" "Very much. You look like an angel." Looking at this angelic girl, Leo wasn't going to turn Jack in. Mr. and Mrs. Jack, who came in a hurry, looked at him, not daring to speak. Leo said to him, "The difference between me and you is that I don't steal people's rights." He left, but Jack couldn't stand the condemnation of his conscience. He went to the principal's office and told the truth, despite his wife's objection. But the principal, who knew the truth, was not surprised and even told him that it was nothing, and that poor people might not graduate even if they got to school. "As long as you do not say anything, I will pretend that it did not happen." Jack understood that this top school did not want to accept poor people. He was furious, and at the parent-teacher conference, he went to the podium and exposed his ugly tactics to everyone, denouncing parents who were as hypocritical as he was, denouncing educators who had become businessmen. He said, "My child can't learn anything here, and she doesn't know how to get real happiness. She can only learn, compare and be indifferent. Independence, sincerity and kindness are what the poor teach her." He took his family and left the school. The rich were speechless. Finally, he sent Anna to public school. After all, the first thing she had to learn was to become a better person than to learn more.